Hello guys, this is Miss Saidari and today we're going to talk about water quality indicators. While you're watching this video, you should be able to answer the essential questions. What factors indicate the quality of water? How do we know if water in a lake or a stream is healthy or not? Why do lakes and ponds start to grow plants and eventually fill in and become meadows? Now, when we study the quality of water, we look for turbidity, dissolved oxygen, temperature, pH, nitrates and phosphates, and bioindicators. Now we're going to talk about each indicator in the next slides. Turbidity is the measure of clarity of a liquid. Now, if we can take a closer look at this picture. The water in this bottle, it is not clear at all, so the turbidity of water in this bottle, it is high. Then if we can take a look at the second one, the turbidity of water, it is kind of medium because the water in this bottle, it is much clearer than this one, but it's not completely clear. And then the water in this bottle, it is clear, so the turbidity of water in this bottle is low. And now remember, water with high turbidity will always have higher temperature. As we mentioned it before, water with high turbidity are not clear at all, and this is because so many materials might be dissolved in that water. And those materials, it could be nitrates, phosphates, or even rust. And it is because of these materials dissolved in this water. Those materials will trap the energy from the sun, and that energy, it is scattered around the water. So that energy, it will not go away. Now, as we have mentioned it before in the other presentations and in class, water with high temperature will always have low amount of dissolved oxygen. And this is just because the particles that make up water will move very fast in higher temperature. And then as those particles move very fast, the oxygen particles might find it very easy to escape from that water, and this is why water with higher temperature will have a low amount of dissolved oxygen on it. And then of course, water with high turbidity will provide food and shelter for pathogens. So, if you can take a closer look at this picture, this water here in this location, it is much clearer than the water in this location. So probably the fish will find it very easy to kind of go around in this area and not on this area. Now, as we have mentioned it for several times, the dissolved oxygen in water supports aquatic life. And then you got to remember, colder water holds more oxygen than the warmer water. Now, if we can take a closer look at this picture, the temperature of water at the bottom, it is much higher than the temperature at the surface or at the top of this water. So the amount of dissolved oxygen at the bottom, it is less than the amount of dissolved oxygen at the top. So the fish, it will probably stay in this area because the amount of dissolved oxygen, it is higher. Now, rivers and streams are rapidly moving water and always in contact with the atmosphere, and that's where the oxygen it is located. So somehow this oxygen it will find a way to dissolve in that water. Now, the water in lakes and ponds, it is a slowly moving water, and only the surface area of the lakes and ponds, it is in contact with the atmosphere where the oxygen it is located. and that's why the amount of dissolved oxygen in lakes and ponds it's less than the amount of dissolved oxygen in rivers and streams. Now, as we mentioned before, cold water holds more oxygen than warm water. Now, in winter and spring, lake surface water, it is much colder than the bottom one. So this is why in winter and springs we'll see fish swimming near the surface. pH is a measure of how much acid or base a substance is. If the water has a pH 7, then that water it is neutral. It is not acid, it is not a base. If the water's pH it is less than 7, then that water it will have acid properties. If the water's pH it is more than 7, then that water it will have base properties. Now, pH indicates the water quality because not so many organisms want to live in water that has acid properties or basic properties. Now, as we have mentioned it in other presentations and we have talked in class, when the amount of dissolved nitrates and phosphates increases in water, the process of eutrophication it will start. Then when the process of eutrophication starts, the amount of dissolved oxygen it will decrease, and then not so many organisms will find it easy to live in this water. The organisms that are used to monitor the health of an ecosystems are called bioindicators. If we look at this picture, this body of water looks pretty healthy because I see fish, different types of fish living in this water. See those little organisms and so many others. So I could say that this water looks pretty healthy. Macroinvertebrates gives us information about the health of a stream or a river. Macroinvertebrates are small, but they can be seen with the naked eye. Those macroinvertebrates do not have a backbone. A healthy river or a stream should have a large number and a variety of macroinvertebrates. If a river does not have a large amount and a variety of microorganisms, then the water is not as healthy because sedimentation or other chemical pollution have made it very hard for those organisms to live in the water. This diagram shows us different types of microinvertebrates. Probably most of you have seen those macroinvertebrates when you were at the picnic. Besides macroinvertebrates, we use microinvertebrates to assess a body of water. Microinvertebrates are too small to be seen with naked eye. That's why we use the word micro in the big word. So those microorganisms produce a special protein when the water starts to pollute. So when we assess a body of water and we find this stress protein in there, we will know that the water is starting to be polluted. And now remember, after watching this video, you should be able to answer the following questions. What factors indicate the quality of water? How do we know the water in a lake or a stream is healthy or not? Why do lakes and ponds start to grow plants and eventually will fill in and become meadows?